If you are a grateful person, if you are a thankful person, you will find you'll be doing better physically than those who are always complaining. Research shows that grateful people experience fewer aches and pains, and they also report feeling healthier than other people. Robert Emmons, a PhD and a leading gratitude researcher. I didn't know there were gratitude researchers, but that's what Robert Emmons does. And he said this, quote, "Gratitude reduces toxic emotions ranging from envy and frustration and reduces depression and actually increases happiness," end quote. And studies have shown that grateful people sleep better too. So a lot of fringe benefits. But why should I give thanks? Because the Lord is good. Here's another reason to give thanks. To give thanks as a Christian, I must realize that God is in control of my life. Listen, no matter what you're going through right now, I want you to know this. God is in control of your life. Sometimes we understand that. Sometimes all the pieces fit together beautifully. And you can look back and say, oh, now I see why that happened. So this could happen. And that other thing happened. So this other thing could happen. It's all coming together. But then sometimes you're in the middle of it and it makes no sense. But remember, God is in control, not us. Now that comes to a revelation to some of us because we think we're in control. Proverbs 16:9 says, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Jeremiah 10:23 says, I know, Lord, a person's life is not his own. No one is able to plan his own course. But thankfully, God is in control of your life and God is sovereign. Now, we throw that word around a lot and we may not fully understand what it means. But when we say God is sovereign, we're simply saying this. God is able to do what he pleases with whomever he chooses, whenever he wishes. Let me say that again. God is able to do what he pleases with whomever he chooses, whenever he wishes. Psalm 115:3 says, our God is in heaven and he does whatever he pleases. So if something is happening in your life that does not make sense, just remember, God is in control. Either he did it or he has allowed it for some reason. And we know, of course, that despite the bad thing we're going through, God can bring good out of it. Romans 8:28, a verse most Christians know. For we know that all things are working together for good to those that love God and are called according to his purpose. Psalm 119:91 says, everything serves your plans. But let me add this. I don't think we'll see all the good that has come in our life until we get to heaven. Because I think there are things in life that will seem bad to us, that when we get to heaven, we may realize later were actually good things. So we have to entrust that to the Lord. So to repeat, number one, to give thanks, I need to realize that God is in control of my life. And number two, I must realize God loves me and is always looking out for my eternal benefit. That's an important thing to add, isn't it? Because I can say, well, God's in control, but what kind of God are we serving? Is he an angry God? Is he an austere God? Well, he's a loving God. He's kind. He's full of mercy. And so I must realize he loves me and is looking out for my eternal benefit, even if I'm going through something at the moment that is quite difficult. Paul writes in 2 Corinthians 4:17, our present troubles are quite small. They won't last very long, yet they produce for us an immeasurable great glory. That's not great glory that will last forever. So don't look at the troubles you can see right now. Rather, we look forward to what we have not yet seen, for the troubles we see will soon be over, but the joys to come will last forever. A third point, to give thanks, I must realize that God is wiser than I am. I must realize that God is wiser than I am. I was having a conversation with my granddaughter, Allie. I think she was around 7 at this moment. And she said, you know what, Papa, I'm smarter than you. I said, really? You are? She says, yes, I am. She was very confident of that. And then a couple years later, I said, hey, Allie, remember when you said you were smarter than me? She said, I didn't say that. I said, no, you did. She goes, well, I don't remember that. But, we'll look at God sometimes and say, you know what, Lord, I'm smarter than you. Well, that's simply not true. And God is always dealing with me for my best eternal good. In contrast, I'm usually dealing with what will benefit me temporarily. And that which is immediately good is not always eternally good. And what is eternally good is not always immediately good, but sometimes painful. But in the end, we'll see and understand. And until that day, here's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and his mercy endures forever.